I didn't want to fall a third time. Like, I get it. All right. I get it. I get it. I'm gonna start today. I'm gonna make this decision. Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery at a special time. I am your host, AZ Araujo. I want to thank you all for joining me, and thanks for being able to schedule your time around my time in order to get this going. But I'll tell you why we actually changed to a 9 a.m. for the time being. I'm not sure if this is going to be something we're moving forward, but we are going to attempt it, or at least I'm going to try to attempt it. But, I was just reflecting on my training for the Ironman 70.3, and I'm only 5 weeks out of the competition. Now, I initially made the commitment to do the Ironman 70.3 in May. May 31st was the day. It was Memorial Day. And I came in, and it was just an epiphany. The night before, something was screaming within my soul that I needed to hold myself accountable to a higher standard. I needed to do something that made me so uncomfortable that was going to put me in a place where I was going to regret it the entire time. And I would say I was right, because oftentimes when I wake up in the morning, I'm regretting the process, right? But then I remember how it makes me feel afterwards, and that's what gets me going. And sometimes when we make these commitments that are so uncomfortable, we just focus on the pains or the discomfort that it brings to us, that we forget that there's a nice result afterwards. The energy that I feel right now, the passion, the purpose that I feel right now is because of what I've done in the morning. Now, this is doing a triathlon is not part of my repertoire. I mean, you guys know me. This is something that just came about when I got injured 3 years ago in 2017. I got injured. I tore my tendons on my chest. I tore my tendon on my bicep, and I was down for the count. And it was a rough transition for me. It really was. I mean, going all in, working out every day, doing CrossFit exercises, right? And then doing some weight training and even throwing some boxing in there. I was just active. And all of a sudden, I couldn't do anything. I went under surgery. I'm limited. I literally have my arms were essentially wrapped to my chest. I couldn't even move them, right? And it was a difficult process for me. Now, mentally, I was trying to show grace. I was trying to show strength, but I was in a dark place. You got to think about this. When you're so passionate about something, when things are going so good, and let's say it's for your business, and all of a sudden you hit this wall, it's hard to climb out of sometimes. If we don't have the right people at our ear, or take the necessary action, it just gets really dark really fast. And it just seems like time just speeds up, because before I knew it, I was a couple months without doing anything. And I felt weak. I was eroding. My confidence was eroding. Everything that I felt, the power and the purpose that I felt prior, was just out the window. And I'm not sure if you guys are feeling this way, but it happens. It happens to all of us. It happens like that in our marriages sometimes. It happens within our bodies, right? We just burn out or are bored with the process. Same thing goes with our business. Like, what used to drive us before is no longer driving us now, and we hit this wall and we don't know how to get out. And when I tore my tendons, I just lost that motivation. And one of the things that I remember is that when I am bored or burnt out, the consequences are dire for me. Like, I don't make things better right away. I tend to make things worse before they do get better, right? Before I wake up or cause this huge friction within my own life, or this huge obstacle that I have no other choice but to start doing the right things. But I didn't want to go down that path, because I know what I'm capable of when I'm not on my game. And it's not something that I want to go down that path, because I know what's weighing on me being and feeling powerful. I know my family is weighing on that, right? I have to make sure that I prioritize that, because I don't want to cause that pain or inflict those issues on my family. And that's where I was going. The weaker I got, it's going to bleed into other aspects of your life. So when you don't feel motivated about your business, you lost that luster for it, you're not performing to the level you should be, it's bleeding into other aspects of your life. And your family knows this. They can feel it. Your spouses know this. And they feel helpless. And I think we're too selfish sometimes, being in our own thoughts, that we forget that how it affects other people. And we got to come to a point where we got to say enough is enough. We got to stop this this dysfunctional behavior, because that's exactly what it is. Feeling like there's not an out. So I'm here, torn bicep, torn chest tendons. My mind was telling me, you're worthless. You can't do anything with your body. How are you going to get the exercise you need in order to feel this power? And these are the stories that are very true in that time, because all we're focusing is on our own discomfort. We're focusing on our own pains, thinking that, there's nothing outside of that, right? Or acting like there's nothing outside of that. Not realizing your business is suffering. Not realizing that the sense of purpose is suffering. And not realizing that your spouse is worried, your kids see a weak person in front of them. We don't realize this stuff because we're only caught up on how we're feeling in a very selfish way. And I get it. It's hard to get out of this, especially when you're used to doing certain things. But it got bad. And every week I would tell myself a couple things. Things are going to change this week. On Monday, things will change. Because I was used to getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But since I have my surgeries, what's the point? At least that's what I was thinking. What's the point? I can't do much. So every week I would set this standard for myself, and I would break it every time. I would break my own promises. I would break my own word. My word started to mean nothing again. Because if you're used to breaking a word in something as simple as saying, I'm going to get up and do this, that, or the other, you're more likely to break your word on other things. And we don't realize that our word is all we have. Our word is gold. Our word is the only thing why people trust us sometimes. But if we can't maintain that level of integrity within ourselves, we're more likely to break that when it comes to others as well. And it's a hard place to be in. It's a hard place to say, I am going to do these things and not do it. It weakens you. And some of you do that with your marketing on a consistent basis. I am going to do the videos and post every single day, and you do nothing. And then you ask, why is my business suffering? And you're probably like me, where you start beating yourself up for not doing the things that you said. And it's tough because you start feeling guilty about feeling guilty. You're disappointed about yourself. You're disappointed for feeling disappointed. And nothing still gets you up. Nothing still gets you to do your marketing. Nothing still gets you to do your follow-up calls. And it doesn't matter. And at that point, we know we just can't trust ourselves. We know this. So we start saying things and never actually rise up to fulfilling that. So we make the goal again the following week, and the same result. Make it again the week after that, and the same result. And as opposed to feeling more powerful, we feel lost. We feel like nothing is working out. We get to a point where we're like, how did my marriage get this way? Where's my next deal coming from? Even from individuals that have been in this business 5, 10 years are still asking themselves, where's my next deal coming from? But when we start looking at our actions, or better yet, our inactions, we can really dissect on where that stemmed from. It stemmed from the fact that we forgot to do the work. It stemmed from the fact that we didn't keep true to our word. And it puts us in a position where we're leaking power. It's hard. It's hard to get up. I was burnt out. I was demotivated. And I got really, really bad. I tried to show up here to the office with a happy face, but I was hurting inside. My motivation was gone. My drive was gone. Everything was gone. I mean, think about that. But I realized one thing. As I'm starting out these new, I'm rolling out, 3 new coaching programs this week. And it's going to affect over 50 individuals within my sphere. Most of are coming within the organization of A's and Associates. And this was a tough decision for me. And that's one of the reasons why I'm starting today at an earlier time. Because now the time that I have allotted, I have to fit more in there. But I started thinking about my own journey. And if it wasn't for the people that I paid, the coaches that I paid, I don't think I would be in this position. So I made that decision based on how I felt when I was lost. I made that decision based on when I felt like the obstacles were greater than what I had within me. And it was a bad place to be in. And I needed an outside mentor and a coach to have me see a different possibility, to hold me accountable to certain things. That's what got me out of this funk. That's what got me out of making worse decisions. Because I know we all know what we're capable of when we're not in a place of power. You know what kind of destruction you can create. So I'm tossing and turning for the last 2 weeks as this voice keeps on telling me, it's time. You got to call these individuals. It's time. And I'm finding the fact that I'm already busy as hell. How could I be training 3 hours a day every morning? Run the operation here. Go ahead and fulfill for my current clients. Try to build, the next phase of A's and Associates and get into our new building. How can I do all that and still create more of these coaching programs? So I avoided that voice for 2 weeks. And it didn't disappear. And you may be hearing a voice within your mind, within your own soul, that's screaming at you to make some moves, to quit sitting idle. Time to step up. And we avoid it. That same voice happened as I got in my first little accident on my bike. Had some time to recover, still didn't make the move. So the voice said, okay, you didn't listen to me the first time, right? I'm going to knock you on your ass again. And you're going to feel the pain. Then you'll listen. And that's exactly when I made the decision that it was time. As I am hurting because I refused to listen to my voice, which I made things more difficult for myself. I wasn't paying attention to the details. And when you're worried or not making decisions you know you should be making, you're not all in. I got injured. Got my ass handed to me, right? I got the scars to show you. And it wasn't for the reasons many people take. It wasn't meant to tell me to slow down. It wasn't meant to tell me you have an out, to use this excuse card. It wasn't meant to tell you, hey, take it easy. You're 41. You shouldn't be going so hard. It was meant to tell me that I have more within me and that there's people out there that need to hear this. And I'm that person to show them that light. And I'm willing to take full responsibility for that. Because I know what it's done for me. I know the darkness that I was able to escape because of the right coaches and the right mentors in my life. That was a dark time for me. But I needed to be around individuals that didn't give me the pass. That didn't tell me, it's going to be okay, AZ. Take some time off. They're the ones who were constantly asking me, what are you learning from this experience? How are you going to pivot? How are you going to shift? How are you going to get out of the story that is a lie that you're coming to believe? They were holding me accountable. They were holding me to a higher standard. And when I made the decision to start the new groups, there was a immediate satisfaction that I felt. Even though it was going to be more pressure, more responsibility, more energy, there was an immediate satisfaction. Because I know these actions that I take are going to impact people in a massive way. It's going to be a domino effect. And I needed to lead the charge. And I am built for this. I can handle this. If I could put my body and my mind through what I did this morning, I can handle this. But the first things first, I have to put myself in that position. So how do you do that? Listen, it's great. You can go out to the gym and get your membership. But we all know that whole pattern. You're going to go for 2 weeks hard and then make it an option. You want real change? Start paying some coaches. You want real change? Pay a personal trainer. You want real change? Get with a group of individuals that'll hold you to that level. Because you'll get bored or you either burn out. So, how did I get into now competing in Ironman 70.3? 5 weeks away. During that time, I had to realize things weren't going to be the same. What I was used to doing before is no longer an option for me. I can't lift weights. I can't go to CrossFit. So, I have to pivot. But because of the coaches that I had, they encouraged me to look for something that I can do. Some of you are still complaining about the same knee problems, same back problems. Like that's a pass for everything moving forward. You're 30, 40, 50. How long are you going to carry that story? I was going to carry that story for a while because I got comfortable in that pain. The pain of non-production. Even though it sucked, somehow I enjoyed wallowing in it. So then that's when I took up cycling. I still had my legs. Can't do anything with my upper body. Can't even lift up my daughters. Can't even hug them with any sense of pressure. Can't do any of that. I remember just wishing I could pick up my daughter and hug her. But I picked up cycling. And then I got a group of individuals that were committed to cycling. Then that group held me accountable. 3 times a week, 4 times a week. We did over 1,500 miles that year. Not bad. Not bad for my first year. Now as I look back what I've done since May 31st, I got 261 miles running. And 1,250 cycling since May. Because there's real accountability. So you want to start changing your patterns? I'm going to challenge you. You won't be able to find that alone. You need to pay to play. Pay to play. And that's okay. Because you're in a position where if you're in a place of power, if you're doing the things that you're supposed to, if that catapults you to do the things that you're supposed to do later on in the day, that's ultimately going to have an effect on your profits, on the money you generate. But if we're constantly in a place, well, I can't afford it. It's too expensive. Because you're looking at it from the lens of where you're at currently. not realizing that when you do the right things day in and day out, the right results will follow suit. But I get where sometimes we hold back because the money's not there. It's a scarcity mindset. I get it. I've been there. But as I was only able to get out of that mindset by making the moves, power moves, signing a lease, long term, in the middle of a pandemic, for a building size twice as big as where we're currently at. Power moves. That comes from constantly betting on myself. Because I'm doing the right things in the morning. I'm making the right decisions every morning. I'm not just sitting there hoping things would change, saying that I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and not doing it, only to erode any type of momentum that I can actually get. I'm doing it because I have an accountability group. And it comes down to one simple phrase. Do the work. Do the work. Whatever you're missing in life, I promise you, this is a solve-all remedy. Do the work. Where are you at with your body? You know exactly how to fix that. With your business, quit acting helpless. It's not going to work here. You know exactly what you need to do. But I will tell you one thing. Sometimes we just need to be reminded on a weekly basis. Because of those reminders, I'm in a place of power right now. Because of my coaches and my mentors, the ones I invest heavily in, I realize I can't believe those lies that I sometimes believe are truths. Because I'm greater than that. And you're greater than that. So you want to feel power, sense of purpose, ultimately, to increase your profits, start in the morning. If you can't get up at 5 o'clock you've been wanting to, or 6 o'clock, whatever that time is for you, put some money where your mouth is. Quit saying it. Put some money down. Put some money down, and I promise you things will start changing. There's some great coaches out there. There's some great mentors. There's some great trainers. Just make a decision. Because I know, like that voice that was telling me to start these coaching programs 2 weeks ago, and I avoided it. There's going to be things around you that are going to get ugly if you don't start making those moves. I didn't want to fall a third time. Like, I get it. All right. I get it. I get it. I'm gonna start today. I'm gonna make this decision. I had 2 other opportunities to listen to that voice. And I'm a firm believer that that's the reason why. That's the story I'm sticking to. You're not going to convince me otherwise. Because the feeling I felt after making that decision, after making those phone calls, true satisfaction. Felt so good because it was the right decision. So if things start getting worse, I'm going to tell you, you're not listening to your voice. You're not listening to that voice that's speaking to you, that's speaking His truth. You're allowing another voice, the voice of doubt, right? The voice of fear, the voice of victimhood, to overtake that. There's a decision you got to make. Maybe it's within your business. Maybe it's within your relationship. But you can't afford to live subpar, a mediocre life. We got to rise up. I know it's going to be overwhelming for you. Maybe it's going to be uncomfortable putting yourself out there as an authority in your business. But it's required. Look at your children and tell me they're not worth it. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell me you're not worth it. It's all bullshit, right? It's all bullshit telling yourself anything less. because you are worth it. I look at my daughters, I'm like, this is why. And I'm in a position that I've always asked for. I stopped selling real estate for a reason. I want to teach the mindset and the business principles to build such a business. So why wouldn't I open up more coaching programs? Why wouldn't I put myself where I'm constantly reaching the capacity of my abilities? Why wouldn't I? This is what I asked for. I'm not going to complain about it. You asked to be here. Stop complaining. You got married willingly. You opened this business willingly. You had children willingly. What are you complaining about? You asked for it. Let's rise up. Guys, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for joining me today for this episode of Mindset Mastery. I would love to hear what you have to say. Did anything I said today resonate with you? How important is it to have coaches and mentors? How important is not to believe the lies that we sometimes make believe it's true? We give too much emphasis to those stories. So I'm happy. I'm happy that I am moving forward. For those of you that decided to move forward, congratulations. If you want more information, I plan to do some more soon. But you know, these programs have shifted lives, and I can't hold back. If my mission is to serve, if my mission is to impact, I'm gonna have to make some sacrifices here, because I know it's gonna help. If it makes a difference at home, I did my job. If you're spending more time with your children, I did my job. If your spouse is smiling, I'm doing my job. If you come in with a new sense of purpose and drive, that's my job. And if the bank account's looking like something you never experienced before, I'm doing my job. So why would I hold back? And why would you hold back? So thank you again for joining me for another episode of Mindset Mastery. I want to thank everyone that joined us today. And again, is there any comments here today? Thank you. Let's see here. Amir, amazing. What you said truly resonates with how we all are trying to be. Our success is always based on our own actions. It always comes down, right? We always teach that here. And it's very different from a lot of, brokerages, period, across not only the state, but the nation. Their approach is like, I will figure it out for you. Don't worry about it. Plug and play. And it's all BS. It's all smoke and mirrors. I've always just spoken the truth. And the truth is, it will always be the byproduct of what you choose to put in. I am here to guide. I am here to reinforce those behaviors, the behaviors that will help all elements of your life, the elements that will create a life on fire. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to you, Amir, and you know that. And I think most people within this organization understand that. And that's why you're thriving so much. And that's why we've become one of the highest sales per agent ratios in the entire state. For that reason alone, you've taken that responsibility. But we still need those coaches and those mentors. We still need that environment, that accountability to keep us on track. So thank you for that, Amir. Gabe, powerful message, and it definitely hits home. Stop the bullshitting. No excuses, just results. We can get stuck in these thought processes of why we can't, just like I was. I got torn tendons. What can I do now? Well, I took up cycling, and that cycling took on a life on its own. I never saw myself doing an Ironman, never. And I am a beast on a bike. And it turns out I'm a pretty good runner as well. Go figure, right? But I needed to listen to that voice that's telling me it was time to shift. And I made a lot of moves during that time in my business as well. But listen, if you go against what you're being told to do, if you don't listen to that voice, you're going to experience more pain. It doesn't get easier. Avoiding it doesn't make it go away. I had to slam my body into the ground twice for me to understand it was time to make some moves. There was people waiting for me to make this move. And I was avoiding it Because every time I slammed myself into the ground, I had time to think. I got laid up the last time. The entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And guess what was crossing my mind? Right? Starting these coaching programs. The new ones. I needed time to think. And there's always going to be a force reminding you to do it. I'm a knucklehead sometimes. I don't listen right away. And maybe you're being a knucklehead right now. Listen. You'll feel better about it. Super important. I am one who succumbs to my own lies, and my coaching calls really impact me and keep me on fire. I'm grateful for them. This is why I came here. And I keep overcoming new challenges. That's exactly it. Thank you for what you do. You definitely make a difference. Thank you very much for that, Raquel. And that's exactly it, right? I'm not here to save anyone. I'm here to remind you what you're made of. I think that's all we ever need. Every call I've been, my coach has just reminded me what I'm made of. And that's all I needed. To rise up powerfully. So thank you for that. Patrick, in order to grow, coaches are necessary, in my opinion. Reinvest and grow. Absolutely. I hired one of the best Ironman coaches in the entire country. I'm willing to spend my money. I'm willing to spend the money on those that can lead me down the right path. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. But what's very unique about this process is that everyone that decided to join the Ironman training are having the best years ever. Go figure, right? Because when you're in a place of power, you make powerful decisions throughout the day. So guys, it doesn't have to be training for the 70.3. What I'm telling you is sign up for something that makes you feel uncomfortable. That's going to challenge you in ways that you're not challenging yourself right now. And the only way to do that sometimes is when somebody's watching. When somebody's watching, because we all know what we can do or can't do when no one's watching. We tend to let things go by the wayside. We tend to put things off. But when somebody's watching, you'll be surprised how high you rise up. I was watching an old CrossFit video yesterday, and they were doing this exercise, Murph, where they have to run, a mile and then do some pull-ups and some, squats and some other exercise, and they have to do that 3 times. And when they went out of the stadium, the guy that won, when he went out of the stadium, he was struggling. He was physically struggling. Like, he was in the front of the pack, but he was struggling. But as soon as he made himself back into the stadium, he heard the roar of the crowd. His whole demeanor changed. The speed at what he was moving changed. His demeanor changed. His facial gestures changed. And that's what occurs when somebody is watching. When you have to hold yourself accountable because somebody's going to ask you those questions. So whatever it is, personal trainer, CrossFit, Orange Theory, personal coach, boxing coach, whatever it is, invest in yourself. Get your butts up in the morning and feel that power so you can make those power moves throughout the day. Jermaine, boom. Jasenia, amazing. We are our own best critic. Yes. We can only tell ourselves the truth. We cannot survive telling ourselves what we want to hear. Yes. And guess what? When we go to close family and friends, they're going to be the first ones to say, it's okay. You've been working hard. Don't worry about it. Take some time off. Take it easy. And that's good. I mean, I think we all need to hear that. But we also need to hear someone telling us, get up, get your ass up. Stop crying. What are you going to do next? Come on. Come on, dude. You're going to let this stop you? We need that polarity as well. Right? We need that. As a matter of fact, we need that more. Because you know what you're made of. And succumbing to the situation, contracting, that's not part of our game. Caroline, very important to have people to mentor, coach you, young or old. If they have more knowledge and they can teach you something that you don't know or that you need a mindset change, learn from it. Sometimes I need to hear it more than once. Truth. Right? If they're living a lifestyle that you admire. And that's a problem. Sometimes we're listening to people that are not even living that lifestyle. I know agents here within the organization that are listening to other agents that are not even producing a quarter of what they're producing. Listen, you gotta filter who you're listening to. Filter whose opinions you'll take on. It's not that they're a bad person. They just don't know yet. Listen to those that are doing it. But not just in business. How does the rest of their life follow suit? Now, if they're killing it in business, but they're absentee parents, their spouse hates them, they don't take care of themselves. I mean, is that what you want? Because if you listen to that person, you'll get very much the same. I'm saying listen to people that are living the life of what you want in all aspects of your life. So great insights, Caroline. Philippe, the transparency shared on these calls and the coaching is real. Appreciate you all dearly. Legit. Let's get it. Let's get it. Thank you for that. Investing in yourself is 100% necessary. An individual can only take themselves so far in their own. We need the fire of coaches and mentors. Absolutely, Michelle. And you lead in it each and every time. And if we start comparing of where we were to where we are, it's like, wow, that is a huge accomplishment. But then there's a flip side to that, right? We know we're capable of more. We know that. And that's what sometimes is so demotivating, that we're not living to that level. And simply hearing and being able to express ourselves with other business owners that are very much on the same path allows us to reignite that flame, to get us going, to get away from the excuses and the stories and start making those moves. So welcome. Celia, thank you for this call. Reaffirms a decision I made last week to invest in me and in my business, getting out of my comfort zone and my own lies. Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes it's hard, right, to reinvest when the money's not necessarily there. I'm not going to be the person that tells you go in debt. But I've done it multiple times to get what I want. If I didn't have the money, I would figure it out, because I was betting on myself. I was betting on myself. And if I knew I can get into a groove of things, right, into a pattern of doing the right things, I knew the results would be great, would be immense. So I maxed out. I can't tell you how many times. I had to. Because what was the alternative? Living in fear? Holding back? Attaching to the story that one day things will change? No, I am going to force change. I am going to force change. And I made those decisions because I believed in myself. And if you're in this organization, it's because you believed in yourself. So don't hold yourself back. Don't have those excuses. You'll figure it out. And sometimes that debt makes us figure it out. That's just my take. You've been nothing but an amazing mentor and coach in my life, AZ. Thank you, Stella. I appreciate you. We are the worst critics and often get discouraged and want to give up. Having you on my side and investing in myself is priceless. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, Stella. Amazing what you've done. You've overcome the stories, right, that were sometimes supported not just by you, but sometimes we get supported by family and friends saying, hey, that move you're about to make is probably not the best one. And to overcome that, congratulations. We got Sergio, grateful for men who have pushed me through the 70.3 and reignite that competitive dog in me. I'm always hungry. It's amazing what these kind of competitions do. I did 8.5 miles today. My body was hurting. You should have seen me. I was like walking around like if I'm 70 years old, limping around everywhere. But all of a sudden, being on this call, I forgot about all the pains and all the ills. I'm fired up. And that's what it's all about. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling so good today. And I want to thank you for always joining me. It means a lot to me. Raquel, I am going to force change. Beautiful. I am going to force change. Thank you again for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. We know exactly what to do, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye now.